I'll make sure you guys all know what to do.
Got it. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and just a heads up, I am recording, so I'll share the recording with you guys afterwards so that you can go back and refer to this. There's also additional self-paced courses that will make available to your team in the production instance of CACWT that you can also refer back to if you're just how to navigate both of the interfaces and really just get an idea of how to go around if you need something to refer back to. So I'm Mauricio Wright, and Sarah, as you guys, I'm sure everyone on the call knows Sarah, but might not be as familiar with me. But Sarah, why don't you introduce yourself first, and then I can introduce myself and the training. How about that?
Sure. Yeah, because there actually might be a few Academy folks here that I have not met yet. So I'm Sarah Mullen. I'm in the training support unit over at CDSS. And I'm nursing this project with Mauricio. Well, I was trying to become like descriptive about like what's actually happening.
You don't want ownership. She's like, no, I'm not the project manager.
I'm like, we're just currently, it feels a lot like we're just nursing the project right now, making sure the little baby stays alive.
And I'm Mauricio Wright. I'm with CACWT over in Berkeley, and I'm normally a production specialist for instructional design, but have been serving also in the capacity of learning management system administrator for CACWT's instance of Canvas and for what we share right now with Bay Area and Central Academy, but have been on this project for the last couple of years in development of a statewide LMS. So helping and working as a project manager and LMS administrator to get this off the ground and running. And so our job now is to build capacity with each of the training academies to use this platform. So one thing we learned while doing our training yesterday, I'll admit this, is, originally I thought this would be more of a training for just instructor-led training support staff, but we realize that we kind of have there's really a group of all of your staff that's here, right? And so there will be times where I'm showing things that are specific to one role but not the other. So I just want to kind of make that clear too. Now there will be some roles where the role in the learning management system is a little more limited than other roles. But for today's purpose, I actually created all of your accounts with RTA admin privileges. So you should have access to all the things that your main RTA admin person would have access to. But once the roles are assigned and more clearly determined and refined, some of those features may drop off for you depending on how your role is allocated. Okay. Also, just to tell you a little bit about the platform, if you may have been part of the admin training that we had before, which was a kind of admin essentials training. But if you were not, to tell you a little bit more about the system, it's the California Child Welfare Training System is a combination of three major components. Our main vendor that we're working with is Blackboard, and Blackboard is used as the course delivery tool, right? So that's that major component. The registration management tool, or as you're probably more familiar with, the student information system, is is Genius. So we have Genius, Blackboard, and then the third major component, the conferencing tool for synchronous sessions, is CACWT. And so we're well aware of some of the limitations that counties are having with accessing CACWT, but that's the built-in native tool that's in Blackboard. And it is our hope that eventually we get to a point where we're using that native tool for running these courses. But we know that right now it may make more sense to use whatever conferencing tool that you've been using, whether it's Zoom, Adobe Connect, WebEx, right, that has that capacity, we can add the links to those courses or course sections for you to use. But that will be kind of an interim solution, with the main goal being using what's built in to the LMS. All right. In today's training, we are going to cover, or try to cover, all of these things. We're going to log into the CACWT system. We're going to go over some of the roles and the permissions, and basically look at what is done on the registration management side compared to what will be done on the course delivery side. You'll get a chance to see where the master courses are actually kept. We'll go over the process of creating a section and what happens when a section is created, and where you'll be able to add your custom Zoom links to a course. And then we'll go over the process of enrolling a learner into a section. And then we'll spend a little time looking over the more advanced features, or how we'll say the moderator features in CACWT. So right now you're in CACWT as an attendee or as a participant. You're not in as a moderator. Towards the end of the training, I'll change everybody to moderators so you can see the full menu of options which you can manage in a CACWT session to give you a better understanding of how these work and can be used for instructor-led trainings. Okay, that sound good? If you have any questions, you can feel free to use the chat feature. You can raise your hand. If you look at the bottom of your CACWT window, you'll notice there's the ability to enable your microphone, your camera, and then there's like a little avatar with their hand in the air. That's how you raise your hand. Somebody had to push that button. Huh? Everybody's pushing that button right now. That's great. And all it does is it allows me to see the order in which somebody had something that they wanted to ask. So it makes it easy for me to not skip over anyone and make sure I can address you. Or you can just add it in the chat, and Sarah and I will try to respond to it. Okay. All right, so let's go to the. We're gonna do this in the sandbox instance of the CACWT system, and I'm gonna share a link with you in the chat, and you can click on that, and we'll go through the login process. Okay. So TFSD. And let me just I'm typing it, but I'm like, you know what? Maybe let me make sure I confirm that link. Get out of this, and give me a second. There it is. All right, I had it right. I just didn't want to share the wrong URL in this chat and have everybody go to the wrong place. So you can click that URL there in the chat. And I'm going to stop my screen share for a quick second and reshare in a different format. Anytime the doorbell rings, Jacob's the first one to go to the doorbell. It's my youngest son. All right, so once you click that link, it's going to take you to a screen that looks like this. This brings you to our test instance. So we sent, I believe Sarah sent out a list to you guys of sites that you should whitelist or that your county should whitelist. The actual production site is CACWT. It's cacwt.dss.ca.gov. When users go there, they'll also see a screen that looks just like this. That production instance is live right now, but we're making a few modifications, and then the expectation is that we will start allowing RTAs to start creating sections and enrolling users as early as tomorrow. Okay. For your login, I know mine has a username, but that's because I'm the type of admin that I am. All the rest of you will use your email address. So I'm going to pull up this little chart here, and let me make this very large and easy to see. So I didn't have everybody's names. I apologize. I didn't have your names, but I was able to create your accounts. So your accounts may have the first letter of your first name, and whatever was the second letter in your email address is what I used as your last name. You can change that once you've logged in, but what you'll use is your email address and then the password that's provided here. So if you can, take the time right now to log in. If you have issues logging in, let us know in the chat, and we'll try to make any changes that need to be made. But I went a couple times to try to make sure everybody could log in. If you had an account already in the sandbox and you have logged in before in the past, I changed your password. I reset it. So this is the new password that's here. For everyone else, this is your first time logging in, your password will be change me.
Mauricio, it's asking me for a 4-digit key.
Who is that there? Tammy, is that
Tammy?
you?
Yeah. It says multi-factor authentication.
Oh, that's weird. Okay, let me look. I just created your account and I turned off that feature. I don't know why that keeps happening. We've gone through this a few times with trainings, and just not entirely sure why that happens each time. But let's find you and resolve this issue real quick.
And Mauricio, while you're doing that, for any folks who aren't in that list that you just showed, do you want them to put their email address in the chat?
Yes, and then we'll get them all set up right now. I don't know if it defaults back to multi-factor for the very first login. I'm not sure. Yeah, there it was on. So let me turn that off, and I'm going to reset your password, Tammy.
It's on for me as well, Mauricio. It's Allison. I'm not sure if it is for everybody.
Yeah, go through this every time.
Oh, and Jason too. And there were some folks, Mauricio, I had sent you the full list at the end of the day yesterday, but there are some people who didn't end up with an account.
Tammy, I'm just going to place this password for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I keep creating these accounts and turning off the multi-factor and making sure the password is a default. But I think what's happening is with this very first login, it really insists that there is a multi-factor login. And because we have emails turned off right now, there's no way for you to do the multi-factor part. So that's what's happening here. That's why I have to manually change your deals. And I had intended to turn email on for the sake of this too, so that we could use the multi-factor, and I forgot to. Let's just try to address this real quick. So Jason. And Thomas, is it that you didn't have an account at all? Your email address wasn't there? All right, we'll create yours right now.
Tomas said he didn't see it. Yeah, it looks like, I think the folks who've put their emails in the chat, Mauricio, don't have accounts. So Katie, Carrie, Tomas.
Okay, I just went based off of what was in the calendar.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Sarah had emailed me and I sent everybody's name and email address in an email to you guys.
I see. All right, and Tomas, you can use the change me one. It should be just like this. their default password. And then let's go through and resolve everybody else real quick. Scott Fong didn't need the pin. Maggie. Katie. Oh, you're kind of getting a firsthand look at also the process of manually creating a user in the system. All right. Katie, you said you were unable to log in?
Yeah, I had used my email address and tried that change me password, and then it said it wasn't correct.
I see, yeah. So then let's reset your password right now. And that's Carrie. And your password, Carrie, will be simply change me.
Okay.
And Salim, it'd be helpful if you provided your your email account.
Sure. There you go. And it's asking me for a PIN as well.
Okay. And I am going to reset your password one more time. I think this might be the last one here. And I will reset your password as well. This is for Crystal. think I was moving too fast there. All right. And it looks like the last person who was having an issue there was Maggie. Her new password. Hopefully that resolves all those issues there.
Hi, Mauricio. I typed in my new password that you gave me, and it's still asking me for a 4-digit PIN.
All right. Okay. Let's just take a. I thought we changed those just now. I thought I looked at all those and we were able to change them. I think it may be falling back to that multi-factor. Try using the same password that I provided you with there, Carrie. Same for you, Christy. Let's.
I think this is Carrie. I think I just have the change me password. Did you put another one in there for me?
I thought I did, but let's check and see.
I'm looking at it.
Travac, we see.
I don't see another one for me.
All right. Sure, everything's there, and let's reset one more time. All right, Chrissy. And Tomas. And Tomas, you want to start with the X in that password. Carrie, do I need to reset your password?
Yes, I don't see one on the chat list for me that's different than the change me.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question because this is Maggie, I still can log in. That code that you sent to me, the A5, is that the new password? Because I was able to get into it with the change me, and then it asked me for a code, a 4-digit code.
I reset your password because I had to go back in and turn off the multi-factor authentication again, and I was concerned that it was going to mess with your password.
Okay, so just use this as my new password.
Yes, if you're required to log in again. All right, it's going to force you to rechange it anyways. Oh. All right, Crystal. Crystal, can you try logging in with the password that you have? Can you try one more time and refresh your screen and then try logging in again? It shouldn't ask you for that 4-digit key. All right. And since I'm not getting more text messages in here or chats in here, it looks like then we're all able to access. Everybody's able to log in at this point?
No, I'm still not able to log in.
Okay, that's Maggie.
Maggie. Mm-hmm.
All right. I will say this process should be a little easier for you guys when in the production instance once we have emails turned on. Maggie. Okay, yeah, use the same, this password in the chat for you, Maggie, A5.
So use
A5,
that.
YHSD.
Okay. You want me to try it now?
Yeah, but make sure you refresh your screen and then try again.
Okay, maybe that's what it was.
All right, so are y'all in?
No, I'm still getting, it's just asking me to verify my email and password, and I'm entering that password, the A5, comma, YHSDY, and it's just keeps telling me the same thing, verify your password.
It's saying, it's telling you the same thing that you need a 4-digit PIN.
No, and now it's telling me, please verify your email and password. And I refresh the page.
Okay. See if you can. Let's see if I can get us to go just a little bit further, and then circle back there. I wonder if this is maybe that your browser is caching your last login, and see if we can address that in a second. That's Maggie.
Yes.
Let's try this one more time here. I'm gonna actually just reset your password one more time. If you can grab what's at the bottom of the chat. All right. And then try that login process again with your email address, and then that new password that was provided. So we have emails turned off right now in both our production instance and this sandbox because we are in the process of having we're importing a bulk amount of learners. So we did a test run about 2 months ago in early November. We did a test run where we imported groups of users that came from each of the training academies. And then, we went through that process to see what errors we might get, if there were any duplications or if there was anything that would overwrite users that were coming from another RTA. So we went through that whole testing process, and now we've cleared out all users out of our sandbox. We did a data wipe just this morning, and had to go back in and manually add all of you today for this training session, but are also planning to do a bulk import of all these different learners that are coming into the system. It's about, from all the training academies, it's close to like 7,000 or 8,000, maybe 9,000. So we didn't want 9,000 emails to go out all at once, and then people go, "What's this?" and try to log in. And if they had an issue or an error, try to 9,000 emails coming in for support. So we're trying to avoid that and go through the process of getting everybody imported into the system, make sure it works well And then in smaller groups, as we get to trainings and we're preparing the trainees to log into the platform, then we can inform them of the process of logging in, and it makes support a little easier. Right? In this case, it made support a little bit more difficult, but we're past that now. So thank you guys for being patient. In this CACWT system, the very first thing you'll see is your home or main dashboard. You notice my dashboard is blank right now. This is an admin dashboard. It is customizable. What you can do is as reports are generated, you can build charts for those reports and you can place them on the dashboard so that you can see those things real time. Like if you just wanted to see total enrollments and you wanted a quick chart to show you total enrollments, you can place that on your admin dashboard. In addition, you have an edit account. This is the edit account feature here. Learners do not have this option. So if you're a trainee in the system and you're logging in, you don't have admin privileges, you will not be able to manage your user information. That's solely manageable by admins. So right now, if you'd like, you can go in and change your name. The blue fields are the editable fields. And you can also turn off something like multi-factor authentication if you want to turn that off. And then make sure you click save. You can also update your password in here. Don't click the go to LMS button, but I'll tell you what it does is that button will actually open up the learning management system or the course delivery tool, which is Blackboard Learn Ultra. And what it does is it opens it up in the course view, and you're able to see a list of all the courses that you as an admin would have access to managing. For instructors, they only see the courses that they've been added to as instructors. So their instructor dashboard looks a little bit different. And so let's talk about that now. Actually, these are different roles in the system that a user can have. So everybody by default comes in as a learner. And if you're a learner, when you cross over from the student information system side or the registration management side to the course delivery side, it takes you in as a student. So you can see here on the top right, when I toggle my name, there are different roles that I might have in this system. So you can see I have, oops, I touched the button I said not to touch. You have the role here as an RTA training assistant. Yours might say RTA admin. There may be additional roles like instructor or learner. When you are, for most part, for those of us who are in there as a main admin, you don't have the right to be a learner in Blackboard anymore. There's a permissions issue that won't allow you to hold both of those roles. So if you have a primary admin role in the registration management tool, it won't allow you to be a student role inside of Learn. So how we address that is you can preview things as a student. It just won't automatically log you in as a student, which will make a little bit more sense, I think, as we move forward. But you can see here, if I switch to the instructor role, my dashboard changes a bit. My options are very, very limited. We really just want our instructors to go straight to the LMS. So when they're here, they'll click go to LMS, and they will only be able to see the courses that they are listed as instructors for. All right, so I see all the activity for things that I've done recently. I can click on the course list, and it will show me here the different courses that I'm able to manage or instruct in. And when I open up a course, then I'll see the course interface. The course interface will slide out right on top of this. So if I click here, slides out over the top, and course content is managed here down the middle. So
So can I ask a question? Sorry, it's Allison. This may be jumping the gun a little bit, but I know part of Carrie's job is on our evaluation team, and a particular question she had is where links to evaluations go. Again, I may be getting way ahead of myself, but would that go in like this page that you're showing us, or does that come in elsewhere?
So for mandated courses, for mandated trainings that that we develop and provide for you guys to create sections off of, all of the eval links are already tied to that course, and they actually, those evals take place in the registration management side, and I'll explain that a little bit more, what happens there when we go back to the registration management side. If you have additional evaluation links that you would like to add to a course, you could add them here in the course section. So each time what we provide you with is the course master, and when you create a section in the registration management tool, it actually duplicates the course master, creates a new offering in Learn, and that new offering, although it's a duplicate of all the original materials, you can also add and make changes to that new duplication. Right. So here we are. We're in a course, and the same way I can click here to add content, you as a designer or admin would be able to also add content to your new course section. Right. You could add anything from, if we click create, we can add everything from a learning module, which is basically just a grouping of files. It just formats it in a way for you. A folder also is a grouping of files. The difference between the learning module and the folder option is really that the folder is designed more to be a repository of files, where the learning module is actually laying out content in a way that's navigatable from piece to piece. You can add just a simple link to something that's external from the platform, like if you wanted to place your Zoom links here. And then some of these other features you're probably not going to use. The SCORM packages, of course, we use those for e-learnings, and e-learnings are going to come in as separate offerings. So the SCORM package for those will already be included. I don't know if I guess in the cases that you're developing or designing offerings that are not mandated trainings but are e-learnings that you're developing for delivery in this system, then you would use the SCORM package tool to add that to the course. There are discussions and journals. I really think the journal feature is a great feature in this platform, but not sure if it's something that's going to get used right off the bat. I think we're looking for some use cases for how to include that to create more engagement in the courses. But if it's something you feel like, hey, in our additional individual offerings or in courses that you develop for your training academy, you want to add that, I think it's a great way to get people to continuously contribute their own information into one singular area that an instructor can also view. So I'll close out of that. To join CACWT sessions, you would do that right here in the left sidebar. Here's where you join main session. Every course has an initial session that's already built into it. So if I click join, it will open up a new tab. But you also notice in that drop down, I have another meeting session. You can create multiple sessions within a course and have people join different sessions based on different times. If there's multiple days in a course, they can join different sessions, or you could just have them join the same session over and over, right? We'll talk a little bit more about those CACWT sessions and what you can do in CACWT towards the end of the training, but just want to show you where that's managed from. The other feature is managing attendance. the way courses are marked as complete in the registration management tool is through a combination of completion. So it's not just attending a training. It's that the attendance must be tracked so that it will trigger the other evaluations that are part of that training. So let's go back to the registration management tool for a second so I can show you how that works. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to change my role back to admin. And I actually want to see this from a learner's perspective. And is my test user still here? Hopefully it didn't get deleted. Oh. Okay. So what I did is I actually just went to the learners panel in the sidebar, and this allows me to manage learners. Remember, learners, not all users, but a learner, and I'm able to look at that learner's information. And in that screen, I can see all of their enrollments, courses that they're in. This is ongoing training here. So what I want to do is also see the learners from the learner's perspective. So I'm going to log in as a learner. And now we see the learner dashboard and how this is different from an admin or instructor dashboard. Here you see the course in their active courses panel. If they had courses coming up that have start dates that aren't active yet, they'll show up here. Learning paths that are a combination of different courses or a combination of different sections will show up in the learning path. So we know supervisor core will be in a learning path format, so it'll show up in here until it becomes active. And then once courses are completed, they'll show up over here in the completed courses area. Users will, when they click here, it will open up the course in Learn. It will go straight to the course. It won't open up in the learner dashboard. It will go straight to the course. And that's where attendance is managed. But on this side, we see that there are some survey requirements. In this case, this course didn't have one. It's 0, but if there were surveys associated with it, it would say 02, 01, 03. And what that means is they would have to complete the surveys in order to complete the overall course. Right, so the course will show, even if they've attended the course, it will still show up in their active courses box until they've completed all the requirements. So if it's still saying 03, even though they were there that day, they didn't complete the course until this is completed. All right. In the survey logic, we have some surveys that are post-tests or surveys that are supposed to take place after training. After the training day has been completed. So their initial pre-tests might show up here in the surveys, and they can click on that and take it, but then surveys 2 and 3 will be read and blocked out, and they won't be able to take those surveys until they've been marked present in the Learn side, on the Learn side of the course. Right. So how that might look is I come in for my training day. I see, I need to do a pretest, so I'll do the pretest, or I'll wait for the instructor to inform me to do the pretest, and I'll come back over here and click this surveys button. There will be surveys that show up here in green and red. Green meaning they're available to take, red meaning you have other requirements pending before you can take them. And then they'll go back to the actual training course. So we'll come in with there's no training course associated with this one. It's just a title. Let's go back and see if I can find one that will actually do that. And let's go to learners. Some of my test learners were deleted today in the data wipe, and they had enrollments already, so may need to let's. I didn't want to go out of order, but since I have to do this for the new this workflow of how I'm showing you this workflow of how a learner may enter a course, I'm going to actually enroll this person into a section right now. So just kind of skipping ahead, but I'll show you this process. So we're in the learner, again, in the learner panel. We go to learners, we'd find the learner that we want to do an enrollment for. So I have my learner, I've clicked on her name, I'm seeing her information for this particular person. And then I go down to enroll in section. And then I'm going to choose a course. In this case, we'll go with, I believe, concurrent planning as part of this. So when I choose a course like concurrent planning, right now there's only one section in this affiliation for concurrent planning. So it automatically populated right here. If there were multiple sections that this person could be enrolled in, then they would show up in the drop down. All right. We have anything that's blue, again, is mandatory to fill in. So we're going to say that this starts today, ends today, which is fine. And all the rest of these items are not blue, so they're not required to fill in. But when they are filled in, they just provide greater filtering capability, right? So they just more data points that can be filtered down for reporting purposes. And if they don't match anything that you feel you need to track, then you can just leave them all blank as is. All right. Once you click enroll, this learner then becomes enrolled in that section. And then if you go back up to information, you can see that enrollment now shows up. All right, principles concurrent planning right there. And I'm pretty sure this course has its surveys attached to it. So let's see how that looks for the learner. There we go. So we can see now it says 0 of 3 surveys, right, that are attached to this course. All right, so if I click on this, I see it would be my first survey that I need to take. And what's happening is this is pulling the links from CACWT's instance of Qualtrics, which that's where the links were living before for these evaluations. So some of these evaluations have been changed or modified. So in this case, this one didn't get pulled, but when we have our live instance, it will be pulled, and learners will see a link here that they can click on. It will open up a survey in a new window. They'll complete that survey, close it, and what's going on in the background are a couple things. Is it's using a unique identifier to attach that information to the evaluation. So it's a blind unique identifier. So instead of the learner having the trainee having to input this formula to identify themselves or de-identify themselves to take the survey, all of that is happening automatically in the back end. So that information gets added to the survey. They complete the survey. When they close it, it sends a trigger back to, it triggers a data point that comes back to the registration management tool and says they've completed or fulfilled that requirement, and then they're able to move on. If that is a requirement in order to open up the additional surveys, then the next surveys will turn green and be available for them to take. In this case, a person could take the pre-test but still will not be able to take the post-test or statewide satisfaction survey until they've been marked present in the Learn course. Right, so they would click here, it opens up Learn, it opens it up in a new tab, and it goes straight to the course. So we're going to see this course as a student. Right. Notice the Zoom link. I used a Zoom link feature, would show up here, right? So they wouldn't join their live session here, they would join it here. And attendance would be marked by either the instructor or a training assistant, right? So that they were there for that day. Then when they go back to the registration management tool, when they go back here, that survey option will be made available for them to take their post-test. So there's some things that are happening there in tandem that are dependent on each other. Now let's go back to the admin side of that, so we can go back and look at learn from admin's perspective. So I'm gonna go back to LMS. And now from the admin perspective, we'll go back into that same section that we were just looking at. And we would need to mark attendance for somebody that's here. So a couple things, a couple features of what you can see here in this left sidebar are the roster. So we can see everybody who's in this course. There's our newest enrollment here, Rosa, right? And then we can also mark the attendance for Rosa. So we're going to go mark attendance. So actually the schema will be set for you guys already. And you simply would come into this screen and see there's Rosa as an enrolled person. And that day, either, again, the training assistant or the instructor will go through this roster of people who were here for that day, and they will mark them as present or absent, right? And what this does on the back end is this sets a trigger that goes back to the registration management tool and says they've fulfilled that requirement. Now they can move on to the rest of the surveys in that survey chain. And that ultimately, once all the requirements are completed for the course, then that course moves to the completed panel. All right.
Just a quick check to see if does anybody have any questions about that eval piece and how it works and how that's tied to attendance, and so what that means for what you have to do as the training assistant in order to make sure that they can in fact take their post-test if there's a post-test, and always the satisfaction survey.
I have a question sort of related to that area. This is Carrie. We have our, Allison was asking about this earlier, but we have a Northern Training Academy evaluation that we use for all of our classes, and it's separate from the state satisfaction survey. Is that where we put the link? We use it for all of our classes. So
yeah, so you'll just always, whenever you all create a section for a course that you're gonna, and Mauricio will show you how to do that too. When you go and create a section for a delivery, because you can't mess with the master course, but when you create like the Northern Academy section that's going to be offered, you can add content to that course as much as you want. So where he was showing you, you just click on the plus button up there. You could like add a whole module that just says like Northern Academy evaluations, place all your eval links there and tell them that they have to take those too. That's where you would do that.
okay, that's great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And as I'm talking, he's showing you right now.
Yeah, I'm watching that.
All right, so it's pretty easy, pretty intuitive to add a link or to add additional content. The key here, though, is you need to make it visible to students. So once you click this, then students can see it. Otherwise, they won't be able to see it. And it's okay if it's hidden at first, and it's something that, for an instructor-led training, we don't, you might say, we don't want to show this link until the end of the training, right? So then you can leave it hidden. And in the student view, again, as an admin or a course designer or as an instructor, you can see everything, but students have a limited visibility. So until this is made visible, it won't show up on their screen content-wise. Also, let's take this time to do a little bit of navigating through this interface. So, I know there's multiple interfaces that you're learning during this training, and it's, believe me, I understand there may be a learning curve for some of you. This may be really easy, and you're going, oh, this is no problem. But there are two whole separate interfaces with the registration management tool and the course delivery tool, and then there will be a whole nother interface again for CACWT too. So understanding those interfaces and when you're in which and what each one is doing is pretty helpful or useful, and also providing support for end users. So similar to, I know you guys use Canvas on your campus. And this is a little bit different. Instead of the Ruby Rails format for Canvas, where you have two sidebars, a left and a right sidebar, and then breadcrumbs on the top. This interface does a left sidebar and a horizontal sidebar, or a horizontal menu. If you look up here, the top, what happens with me is I always want to click this X. I always want to X this out because I feel like it's a sub menu that shouldn't be up. But the reality is that if you click this X, it's going to exit the course. So as you bring up additional components, they're actually going to slide out on top of this, and you would click those X's to get out of those. But if you click this last X here, then you're going to exit the course. And sometimes that bothers me, but for you, it may not bother you at all. I guess I'm a person who I like to say I'm a habitual button pusher. So I want to push the X button all the time once I see it. But moving on, there's a calendar feature you're probably not going to use too much, but it's here in the top horizontal navigation. This is also where you see your communication or discussions forum tab is up here at the top. So if you wanted to jump to discussions directly, maybe they're nested somewhere else in your course, but if you wanted to get to it quickly, you could get to it from this top bar. The gradebook is also up here. Again, these are features that by design aren't features that we typically use for training or tracking training, but I'm showing you these features as they may be features that you use for course offerings that are unique to your training academy. And then last, there's the messaging tool here. This is how you can email or message learners who are in this course. All right. So if you wanted to do a bulk announcement to learners in the course, or an instructor wanted to ahead of time provide additional instructions, this is probably the fastest, easiest way to do it from here. Right. And the last one is your reporting tool. So most of your major reports are actually going to get generated on the registration and management side, so you probably never use this last pie chart at all for those analytic purposes. All right, so we'll get off of that. See, I did it again. I closed completely out of the course. Here we go. Your left sidebar, again, this is where you can do roster management. Really, everyone who is enrolled in the course, that information should come from the registration management side. There really wouldn't be a need to manually enroll somebody into a training from this interface. but it may be helpful to look at your roster from here. So you wouldn't want to use this plus button, but at least you can look here and see who is enrolled. You can create groups, which you can also do in the Collaborate session. You can also create groups. We'll talk about that a little bit more, about creating breakout groups and using those. Again, we went over the marking attendance feature. You can make broadcast announcements similar to messaging somebody, but here's the announcements feature here. And then if you want to preview things as a student, right? In this case, I said, let's cancel. I think I mentioned you need to make things visible to students in order for them to see it in their view. You can see this content is hidden, which is the evaluation link. And so when I click here to start preview mode, you'll notice that evaluation link isn't visible for me as a student. And it tells you up here that you're in student preview, but also your avatar will change up here in the top corner. So my evaluation link is gone. You can see the limited options that I can see on the left sidebar here as a student. When I click my training materials, again, this is a learning module versus just a folder. So this learning module has a description area, and then there are course content things that I can download. PDFs, I can download them, or if I click on them, they're going to open in a new tab. PowerPoints are going to download automatically because the browser doesn't have a way of handling a PowerPoint. So here you can see there's PDF on my content. If I'm working with, which one is this? This is the trainer's guide. So if I close this and open up something like the fillable trainee guide, right? The trainee guide it's opening in my browser and it's fillable. So I have the capability here to fill it out. I can fill it out here. What's important to remember is that I can't download this filled out. So I can fill it out, but if I try to use the download feature here, it's going to download an empty document. If I want to download what has actually been filled out, I need to use the print feature and then save as PDF, right? And once I do that, everything that I've typed in there gets saved, and I have it for my record. So for your learners, it's just something to make sure they're aware of. So trainees, don't type all that stuff up and then click the download button and close the tab and then get upset that they've lost all their work. Again, once they close their tab, nothing is automatically saved, so all that content goes away. If they want a more safe and secure way of typing their content and not having a chance of losing it or having it auto save, my suggestion would be to have them download the file and use Acrobat and actually edit in Acrobat from locally on their computer, and then periodically make saves. That way they're not really at risk of losing content. Also, recently Acrobat or Adobe, they created this plugin for Chrome and Firefox, which if you use this plugin, you can manage an Adobe file and save periodically from the browser. It's a little different than previewing a PDF in the browser. It actually is opening the application for Acrobat and allowing you to manage there. So just like you would if you were to download it. So just some options there that you may want to make your trainees aware of. Okay.
Mauricio?
So I think we've covered the interface here. Yeah.
With
Sarah?
the access that they have right now, are they able to click into a course and kind of get into the Blackboard side too?
Yes. So we'll do that right now because they're all gonna create a course section and then
Awesome. Okay.
And then enroll a learner and then go through the process of becoming that learner and going into the course.
Perfect. Jason, does that answer your question? Or
Yeah.
is that what you were asking about? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to exit this preview right now. And I'm going to go back to, let's go all the way back to, so now I'm back in my dashboard as an administrator in the registration management tool. And this is where I would like everyone to go at this time is here. We're going to click the learners option. Sorry, we're going to go down to sections and click the sections option. Does everyone see that? So everybody should be in the section, and right now you can only see test affiliation. So what we want to do is we're going to create a section of a master course. All right, so we're going to click add section. And at the top, you're going to choose concurrent planning, or principles of concurrent planning for RTAs. It will automatically add this section number to the end. But for test cases, for this case that we're creating these individual sections, what I'd like for you to do is to put dash test and then your name, your first name. Okay.
It looks like that course isn't showing up for these folks.
Our menu, the drop down Mauricio has Accounting 101, Charles Approval Course, Eating 101, and Theme Park Rides. That's what's on my, those are the only things that show up, and nothing else shows up if I search for it.
Me too.
Okay, that's fine. Let's use Accounting 101. I thought I added Principles of Concurrent Planning to this affiliation, but that's okay. So this is actually a good time for me to explain what's happening there. When I create course masters and course masters are made available, they're made available to specific affiliations. Affiliation structure works like the RTAs are a parent and the counties are childs of the RTAs. And then above the RTAs, there's another account that is the parent of the RTAs. So there will be times where I make courses available to all child accounts, so you know that you'll be able to see them from any affiliation and create a section from them. And then there will be some that are specific to an affiliation. Same thing when you create your own courses, you may want it to be available to all counties or just a specific county. All right. So let's change this then. We'll choose a different course. You said accounting was available in yours, Accounting 101. So we'll choose Accounting 101 as our course. I'm trying to remember if Accounting 101 has a learn course associated with it. Let me actually just make one little change then. Okay. If we go back to the section view, let's try this again. Can everyone do a quick search here and look for concurrent planning? Do any sections show up for you? I see it now. Okay. So now we're going to make our own section of concurrent planning. So we're going to say add section. Again, up here, you'll search for concurrent planning. You'll list the instructor. Right now, we're going to use dummy instructor, and rename your section as dash test and your first name. We'll give it 3 credits. We'll set it for our test affiliation. And we want it to be active status. The rest of this we can leave blank for right now. Oops. Actually, we want to grab the course template, the course master. So we actually do need to change this one here. So under LMS, we'll select CFSE Test Ultra. So this is where the course is going to launch from. And then for the LMS course ID, we're simply going to title this Principles PCP Test. Actually, go ahead and leave that field blank for right now. There are a few other enterprise HR fields that need to be populated down here that are in blue. And we're just going to say no. This is in-service training, and we're going to put in Northern. And that's it. That's all that really needs to be filled in there. This actually section is for other purposes. So once you've done that, then you can click save and your section will be created. Just trying to check and make sure there's nothing else that we're missing up there. All right, nothing else that should prevent you from creating this course. Your section should start to load. Probably because we're all making sections of the same master course right now. Usually it loads pretty fast. And you'll get a little success message down at the bottom. So now when I scroll back up and I click on sections, I should now see my section here. So I'm going to type in concurrent planning. And now we see there are multiple sections that were created. So there's my test course, test Mauricio. Hey, I see test Crystal, test Chris. Excellent. Test Jason. Perfect. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to enroll somebody into that section. So we're going to go to Learner. And in the learner screen, we're going to find an individual learner. Why don't you, we're not going to use yourself, what we want a student, we want a test student. And I believe Rosa is in all of those. So we're going to add, let's see what other test users. We have Alfredo here. We can enroll poor Alfredo into a bunch of courses as well. So you can use Alfredo, or there may be other names that say test in there. All my test learners are gone. Once you click on the name, it will bring up a menu that looks like this. In the left sidebar, you're going to scroll all the way down to enroll in section. And so now we'll choose the course, which was concurrent planning. And then we'll choose the section that we created. So mine was Mauricio. Test. There it is. We'll choose today as the start and end date, and then you can leave all the other fields blank, and then click enroll. All right. So now I've enrolled my Testing Alfredo account into this course. And what I would like for you all to do is to log in as this user. So we're gonna look at things from Alfredo's point of view by clicking log in as user. It will bring up our learner dashboard. We can see all of Alfredo's active enrollments, right? Now that he's been enrolled in all these different courses, right? And then you can choose the section that you created. You notice there are surveys, so you can click the surveys button kind of to see how that works. But then you can actually click the course to open up the course and learn. So now we all have the same course view. And I'm not going to do it, but you're welcome to do it. You can actually use the join session button right now. You can click that and you'll notice it will open up a whole new CACWT session for your section. Nobody will be there because we're all in different sections. But that's what that CACWT session will look like for a participant who's just opening it up and getting into it. If it was Zoom, then the learner will, of course, open their course materials and look for the Zoom link that is for their course. Notice, unlike the one that we were in earlier, there isn't a Zoom link already here because, again, this is a new section offering, and the default, the basic version, did not include a Zoom link in it, right? What we're trying to do is put a placeholder that is hidden to the student so that you as administrators can go in and manage that and update that placeholder. But then you'll have to make it visible as either an instructor or admin or training assistant so that students can then see it and log into the live session. All right. So that's how this all looks. Let's close the tab for Learn. Sarah, do you think we should allow them a few minutes here to kind of navigate around as a student, or do we want to get
I was
back
wondering whether they should go back as admins to their sections and add a module for Academy evals, or add a URL or whatever, just so if they have to do that later, they know how to do that.
So let's do that. We're gonna go ahead and X out of this tab, completely X out of this tab. We want to close it completely. And then in our registration management tool on Genius side, we're going to click log back in so we could go back to our admin role. Notice we're over here. You can see that you're in your admin role. You have your admin dashboard. And you're going to click go to LMS. And this is going to log you back into Learn, but as an administrator. Click go to LMS. And that course that you just created should probably be the only course that shows up in your courses log. Let me know if it doesn't show up. All right, so everybody should now be in that new course that they created. All right, you can edit this, and you notice the name, it's stuck with the default from the section that would have been created on the registration management side. So I'm just going to amend this and make it look like it's supposed to look. So it should say test Mauricio, so it's easier for me to find later. And now I can make edits to this course. So again, we wanted to add a Zoom link. So we'll create our link. We'll title it and then we'll click save. All right, so now I have that link that's available there. Allison said it's not editable for her. Let's see what's happening for you there, Allison. Go back out of here. And Allison, you said you created a section, right?
Yeah, I have my own section and I went into it, but it's not, I can open it from the course dashboard, but it doesn't let me edit anything in it. Maybe it's just me. Oh.
Did you already log back? You went in as an admin this time and it isn't.
I don't see yours. Oh, there.
Steps Mauricio said. It's showing though at the top of my left, it still says Alfredo testing.
So you might, are you still logged in as a student?
You're still in as Alfredo. So if you, right now I'm acting as you, so you can see I'm in here as you in the section that you created, and I can make edits and add and create content. Right now though, you're still in the course as Alfredo. So that's why I said we wanted to X out of Blackboard completely, X out of that tab so that when we re-log in as an admin, there won't be any discrepancy. If that tab is still open, the browser gets a little confused what, you know, who you are logging in. That single sign-in process kind of gets a little jumbled up. So I'll show you again how we'll do that. So notice for the learner dashboard, it opens up a new tab for Blackboard Learn. But when you're in as an administrator, it doesn't automatically open up a new tab. You have to either, you know, go all the way back and re-sign in to the registration management tool, or you know, right click on that go to LMS button and ask it to open up in a new tab. So let me go back here. Right, notice up here in the corner I'm you, and I'm going to right click this go to LMS button because I want it to open up in a new tab, and it's going to go through its single sign-on feature and open this up with my admin privileges. All right.
So I'm wondering, did everyone do that? Did you go to that top corner and just do the drop down and just click on yourself, but as the admin, or were you just trying to go log in somewhere else? Just because from some of the questions and comments I'm saying, I'm wondering if folks actually did the drop down thing or not.
I use the left hand where you're showing right now, and yeah, it's asking for us to sign in again, and it won't work.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not getting into Blackboard that way.
Okay. Okay.
Is it the same username and password that we used?
It should be, but I think I understand what's happening here too. Is because you're in both in the hat of a learner, but also as an admin. It may. I think I have to manually add you to that role in Learn in order for you to see that. So I think that might be the discrepancy there. So I'll have to go back and look. Let's see if I can find you myself. Oh, so not even my single sign-on is not working now. Oh, I'm still you. Sign out. Now I'm me. Okay, I think your admin, at this time, your admin account is not created on the Learn side and needs to be manually created. So I'll make sure that's done before you guys enter your production instance as admin, for the sake of getting in there and being able to do those features. I think it would take a little bit of time to do right now. And I know that we're already down to the last 30 minutes of this session. I do want to allow you guys to get in as admins. So what we'll do is I need to find an account that already has admin privileges.
While you're doing that, just a couple things I want to lift up that occurred to me as we've been talking through things. One is, you noticed that as we were doing all this, the course name, that master course name, it says Principles of Concurrent Planning -RTA. The reason for that, just this is a heads up for you all to know moving forward for when you are actually for reals creating your sections. There are going to be two different master courses. So there will be Concurrent Planning RTA and there will be Concurrent Planning County. Because we know that some counties are going to be training concurrent planning themselves and not going through the RTA. So please do not grab the wrong one when this is all for real, because at that time you will see both. So I just want to make sure that anyone who's going to be creating a section knows to be like, read all the way through to the end of the line and make sure you've grabbed the RTA one and not the county one. The reason for that is they are each going to have totally different eval links. So any evals coming out of county deliveries are going to be separated from evals coming out of RTA deliveries. So please grab the correct one. That's that. And then the other piece I wanted to lift up and make sure everyone is aware of how the eval piece is actually tied to training completion. So for the surveys that are actually linked to the course itself, which are all of the state required evaluations, all of them have to be completed and actually submitted. So like even on that very last page in Qualtrics, they have to actually click submit. Until all of that's done, they are actually not marked as complete in the like student information system. So for purposes of tracking training compliance and all of that, those evals have to actually be submitted. They will show as having never actually completed the course if they haven't done that. We have worked in the option to override if and when something like that becomes necessary. So for example, in any trainings that are multi-day, so like supervisor core, there's a pre-test on day 1, but then they take a satisfaction survey on days 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10, right? So we know that sometimes people, maybe somebody missed day 1 because they were sick, but then they show up on day 2 and need to be able to take the satisfaction survey. So there is an option for you to go in and override. That should only ever be used in some kind of extenuating circumstance like that. But otherwise, they have to take the evals and they have to submit them in order to have to be shown as complete and in compliance for the course. So just want to make sure all of that's very clear for everyone.
All right. I think getting you the correct capability here as an admin just takes a little bit more time because there's just some things in place that would prevent you from being prevent an admin or make it difficult to create an admin account. So I'm just in the process of creating one that you guys can all use as a test. And then I'll have to tie it to a I'm going to use mine. Test admin. I don't know. Let me just see if I can go over from this test admin user directly into okay. All right. So for the sake right now of giving you guys the opportunity to see the learn side and kind of manage as an administrator, I created this test account to do that just because it would take too long to pair everybody's accounts right now with the learn side. So the username is test admin. Oh, let's go back. So if you try it out right now, you'll go to test admin as the username. So you'll log out and you use test admin, and your password is test. If you log in as that, then it will allow you to click the home tab and click go to LMS to view LMS as an administrator. You'll see your dashboard looks like this. And then when you click the home tab and click go to LMS, you should then see this screen. It looks like this. And it's going to kind of, it says there are no courses yet. It's kind of walking you through this interface for the very first time. And do one last thing, which is you enrolled in a test course that you can kind of play around with. All right. So I'll go through again that enrollment process there. He's an admin, so they're just trying to think through how we want to make this visible for you guys. That section should actually be visible as part of this whole thing. And let me go back in here and look from our test admin perspective. We should see any courses that are associated with this person. We have this course here, so we want to add a section of that course. And now this section should be available for me to see. All right, so I click home and go to LMS. Then see the new course that was created. I think I'm missing something here, but that new course I created should show up there. It didn't, so I'm going to go to the courses panel in the admin view and look for that course. And I think it's just trying to produce this on the fly. I may have missed a step somewhere, and I'm not seeing the course that I just created. But we can try to go into it a different way and see if so our section added. There's our section. We created a test admin user course. You see it's here. Let's we have our, again, our start and end date. It's the same. I'm just trying to get a learner in that course to see if that will help me be able to see it. And then we'll view it as a learner. No, that course is still not showing up in the activity stream. I'm sure I'll figure this out as soon as this call is over, and and then have additional instructions there for where that should show up for you. But I know we're absorbing a lot of time trying to set that up, and sorry that that wasn't set up in advance. I'll make sure everybody has access to get in there and see on the learn side how management looks for course management. It should automatically, especially once you have your accounts linked between Learn and Genius. When you log in, you should see everything that was created, especially sections that you've created, should all show up there. So just need to identify why that didn't happen there. I'll come back to that. I did want, before you guys leave this session, I did want to take a moment to kind of go over the Collaborate interface and give you an idea of just what is available to do in Collaborate. I got a little thrown off today. I just want to let you know, we cleared and did a data wipe today of all of our users. So some things that I had prepared were wiped away. And we will be using a little bit more of a fresh start in our production instance than what is set up in the sandbox, because it's kind of the wild, wild west in here with how things have been created. But make sure you have a little more seamless integration between these two products by the time you're using it. So I'll be able to go in and spend a bit more time making sure that those roles are created on both sides for you, so you can log in and access what you need to access. Let's take this time now then to, let me log out of this. Let me go back to this same course that we're in. And so I'm going to open up a Collaborate session. We'll just want to open in a different session than what we're actually in. You can see interface looks just like this, what we're in right now. And there we go. I'm going to make you moderators right now. Right now you're as attendees or participants in this session, but you'll notice you're going to get promoted to the moderator view. So what you can see is going to look slightly different. So if you look at down here in our, actually I'll show you all three of these different parts here. We have our main menu here, which this is where we can start recording, report issues, actually learn a little bit more about this interface, are all managed in this main menu. Down at the bottom is our collaborate panel. So you have the capability to enable your audio, video, raise your hand. And to the far right is this little panel that opens up the full collaborate panel. And at the bottom, you can see chat is by default, but then you can see all the attendees in the session. You see your content sharing options and then your settings where you can manage your settings for the meeting. This is how you check your microphone and camera to make sure that they're working properly. You can check notification settings for all those who are in the session and what pops up, doesn't pop up for them. And you can also change your session settings to allow everybody to, share video or not, what features can be done in the session. So that's all managed in settings. Let me see, I think there were just a few more people to make moderator. Okay, so as a moderator, you now have full content sharing permissions. So you may see the whiteboard option. If you click on that right now, it will create a whiteboard, and everybody would have the capability to write on that whiteboard since we're all currently moderators, so you can use the pen tool to write something. You have a steady hand.
Both myself and someone else simultaneously decided to make a smiley face.
Yeah.
I don't know who that was.
Is that your mood? Smiley face mood?
Well, we can pretend.
All right. I also want to point out that in the share files option, so of course you can share your camera, right? You can choose what type of camera you're going to share. Notice I have several options in mine. Most people, it's just their webcam. But if you use third-party tools like I do, sometimes you can see I have like Chroma Cam, Snapcam. You can use those to change your virtual backgrounds or add to how you're sharing your video feed. In the share files option, you can actually add files to this actual collaborate session. So if you wanted there to be files that are specific to that session, maybe not to the course, but to that very session, you can add them right here. Again, PowerPoints, PDFs. If you add a PowerPoint, you can actually display the PowerPoint right here in your collaborate session without having to use like slideshow mode in PowerPoint itself. Just another way to manage the presentation in Collaborate. Also up here, share application screen. You can share your entire screen, an application window, Chrome tab. Makes it a little easier to share. If you're using Chrome tab, you can share a specific tab instead of everything that's on your screen. Just depends on workflow for the session. Breakout groups work very similarly than what you would see in other conferencing. So if you click that breakout button, you'll see it automatically groups everyone into separate groups. And I'm going to show you how we all are going to end up in 2 different groups.